This is a quick comparison review that I've wanted to do for a little while now, and I finally assembled the three chilies that I wanted to review together. First of all, we have the Fidalgo Roxa, which I have eaten before. This one is the CGN21500, and this is the Cheiro Roxa. These are all very similar in many respects. The plants are extremely similar. If you saw them flowering without pods on, I very much doubt you could tell them apart. But the pods obviously are a little different, and they do taste differently, and hopefully I can eat them and describe how they taste. This is a Fidalgo Roxa. First one up. It smells quite fruity and very much of CGN21500. So this one is the CGN21500, which smells very similar. It's got a slightly stronger CGN21500 smell and slightly less fruity smell. And this one is the Cheiro Roxa, which again smells very similarly to the other two. But I would say smells a bit less of CGN21500 than the other two, and smells a little bit more fruity than the others do. Alright, the Roxa family, I guess. Hi, Nigel Carter back here in the kitchen again, and you've seen the little preamble, so this is a comparison review between the Fidalgo Roxa, the Cheiro Roxa, and the one that has the accession number CGN21500, which is probably about time we named it, I think. So I'm going to start with the one that I haven't had before, or I haven't reviewed before anyway, and that's the CGN21500. They're a lot rounder than the other two. You do get a bit more contorted than this, and they do get a bit more purple. It does depend on how much light they get on the plant, how purple they are. But as with the other two, the plants have purple stems and purple leaves. The more light they get, the more purple they get. So, CGN21500. Cheers. That was just spectacular. It's really fruity, lots of acidity, lots of sweetness, very, very juicy, and a huge big woof of CGN21500 flavour right up front along with the heat. The more you chew it, the sweeter it gets, but that big whoomp of heat and flavour really goes very high and then dissipates very quickly. The fruitiness is a little bit peachy in a way. It doesn't taste like peaches, but there's a peachy kind of fruitiness to it. and that's absolutely just delicious. All three of these are just spectacular, really are. And in terms of heat, you get a big thump of heat right up front, but it's less than habanero hot, and it leaves you with a very, very warm feeling in your mouth, especially on the tongue. But the heat dissipates really fast, as does the flavour. It's just very clean. The flavour, there's no nasty side bits, there's no aromatics that may be a little bit unpleasant. It's just straightforward, straight ahead, sweet, fruity, juicy, and then it goes away. And right now I just have a very mild taste in my mouth. It's just the very cleanest taste of just standard Chinense flavour. Yeah, those are just as good as the other two. Those are just beautiful. So the heat is almost gone. Haven't been doing this very long, and it's been and gone. Again, it's a really great snacking pepper. You could just sit there with a bowl of them in front of the TV and just watch TV and eat nothing but these. That would just be great. In fact, I could do that tonight. So I'll be back in a minute. I'll let my mouth calm down a bit, and then I'll be back in a minute to do the next one. So see you in a minute. Okay, it's a good 15 minutes since I had the CGN21500, and these things, the heat dissipates very quickly, and it leaves everything unscathed because the heat isn't very much. It's, you know, it's half habanero hot, that kind of level. So the next one we have to go, I'll do this one next. This is the Fidalgo Roxa. Another one from Ajijoe. The first one was also from Ajijoe. The Fidalgo Roxa. Cheers. It's very similar but different. I mean, it's not as fruity, but you get that again, that big of heat and flavour. This one's a little bit more, it's a little sweet, a little bit fruity, but not much. But the more you chew it, the more it's more vegetable-y. Again, very juicy. Right now I have a taste that's a little bit like sweet cucumber in my mouth, which is, I like cucumbers a lot, so that's very nice. But the heat on these, I would say the heat on these is slightly higher than the CGN21500. Not much, but it is a little. So they are sweet and juicy up front, but they're less fruity, tending towards more vegetable in the end, in the finish. And again, it's absolutely just delicious. I'd definitely say that's hotter. It's heating up my mouth more, and I have some tongue burn, and the roof of my mouth is also quite hot. So in this particular case, the Fidalgo Roxa was hotter than the CGN21500. A slightly different flavour profile, but very similar Chinense flavour, extremely clean, extremely delicious. And this one seems to be, it lasts a little bit longer too by the feel of it. In this particular case, that one's probably half as hot again as the CGN was. Yeah, but really nice. I could sit here and review these three peppers all day long without any problem whatsoever. Alright, well, that was the Fidalgo Roxa, which I have reviewed before. And we'll let my mouth settle down a bit. It's still going along. It's not faded nearly so fast as the CGN did. As I say, it's hotter. But I'll give that another 10-15 minutes and come back and do the Cheiro Roxa. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, it's 15 minutes after I've eaten the Fidalgo Roxa. So everything's calmed down. I've got no heat, anything left in my mouth. So we'll move on to the Cheiro Roxa, which looks a little bit different. This is fairly typical for the ones. This is off my plants. So, the Cheiro Roxa. Cheers. So these are a little bit less sweet, but they're more fruity, much more fruity. In fact, don't, pardon me, they're almost bordering on sour. Just. But again, you get that whoosh of heat and flavour in your mouth, just like the others. But this one's a little bit more sour. A little less fruity, but you get that really beautiful, clean chinense flavour, just like you do with the other two. And I would say that this one is probably, out of these three peppers, this one's the hottest of the three. This one's probably is a little bit hotter than the Fidalgo Roxa. Probably twice as hot as the CGN. But yeah, that's just fantastic. All three of those are just brilliant, they really are. This one leaves a slightly different taste in your mouth. It's not vegetal like the Fidalgo Roxa, but not quite as fruity as the CGN. But again, it has that wonderfully clean chinense flavour that all three of those have. And a lot of the Brazilian peppers seem to. Things like Kumari de Para is like that as well. It's incredibly clean chinense flavour. There's none of the cloying, underlying floralness that you can get sometimes with Habaneros and some of the other chinense. Yeah, it's definitely hotter than the Fidalgo Roxa. Probably twice as hot as the CGN, as I say. Even though it's a smaller pod. Hard to pick a winner between those three. They're all three of them are absolutely just fantastic, absolutely brilliant. I think if I were to pick one, I'd probably pick the Cheiro Roxa just. But all three of them have great aspects to them and wonderful flavours and wonderful heat to them too. This one's burning my tongue quite nicely. I would say that one's probably not that far off habanero hot. Well, I don't know about you, but I certainly enjoyed those. So, comparison review for you. This is Nigel Carter saying thanks a lot for watching, and get some seeds if you can. All three of these are well worth growing, and the plants all look the same. Very cool. So I'll see you later. Bye.